the iPhone Air, Apple's thinnest iPhone ever. Maybe the iPhone 6 was nearly as thin, but does it actually matter? What is the point of this thin phone? Now, I was a skeptic about the usefulness or the reason to be of this thing. I didn't know if anybody would want a thin iPhone, but I opened it up and now I've used it for a week and my opinions have changed. Some good, some bad, but we'll get into that in the video. If you're brand new here, hit the subscribe button if you want to come back again. And if you've been here before, thank you so much. But if you haven't hit that subscribe button, you hit the subscribe button. Now, initially, right after the iPhone Air was announced, I was like, thin. Way to go, Apple. But I ordered one because I like to challenge myself and my poorly formed opinions. So I just didn't think thinness was enough. I didn't think that thinness was enough to really matter. And I wasn't sure if the things that we lost would we want to lose all those things? I mean, one speaker and smaller battery and, one camera lens. I mean, seriously. So over the time since I got this last Friday, I have been using it as my phone. No special fancy pants tests of anything whatsoever. So you'll get from this review at best a sense of what it's like for me, I try not to be too much on my phone, but I probably average about 5 hours of screen on time a day. Okay, maybe 4. Hopefully less, but I have my phone with me a lot. First off, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look here at the actual thinness of the iPhone. Now, I've kept it also in this transparent glass icon thing. And I don't know if you've downloaded iOS 26.1, but iOS 26.1 has changed some things with the liquid glass just a little bit. It's a little bit more defined and there's not as much stuff like, warping and going weird around the back. So like behind things. So it's a little bit different. The thing that is super surprising is exactly how much different it is. Now, this is an iPhone 14 Pro Max. The thinness that I thought was not going to be that much of a factor is more of a factor than I thought it would be. Well, initially, when I just pulled this thing out of the box, I was like, "Whoa, okay, this is very, very nice to just hold in your hand." The iPhone Pro Maxes that I've been using over the past several years, they were heavy, and while that wasn't necessarily a bad thing, it gets a little tiring. And like I can lay in bed just like this, and this thing just it's nicely balanced in my hand, just like this. And it's not too heavy. Now, I'm not using a case. And I do have the bumper case, but I hate the way it feels, so I'm going to return it. It's just plastic. It's just a piece of plastic, and it's not even good feeling plastic. Now, the thinness of this, if you've seen Jerry Rig Everything's video, Zach tried his damnedest to break this thing, but ended up having to use some kind of machine to actually break this thing in half. So the strength of this with the titanium and all that it's a very strong phone. However, let's see if I can get you look at that. Look at that. This happened day 2 as I was taking shots for this the thumbnail. I just tapped it with another iPhone that I was taking a picture with. And it, yeah. And then I've been charging it with the wireless charger, and you can see the marks around here. So this is super disappointing. This really upsets me. I know a lot of people have been having problems with the overall build quality of the Pro Max phones. I haven't seen anything about the iPhone 17s, but the Max and Pro Max phone, or the Pro and Pro Max phones, people have been having trouble with durability, and it just doesn't make any sense to me because this is an iPhone 14 Pro Max that I bought on launch day, and it's got a couple of hairline scratches on the screen, but it is freaking pristine. It's pristine all over the place. This is 3 generations of phone ago, and yet some people are having, huge scratches on their new iPhones. Did Apple, did they change the formula? I don't know. Anyway, build quality, while it is a very sturdy phone, it is delicate in a way that it shouldn't be. And that really disappoints me. But the overall thinness has really impressed me. Now, on a day-to-day basis, I have caught myself wondering, like, oh, do I have my phone with me? Because I can't feel it in my pocket, which is great. Because sometimes the Pro Max phones are heavy enough that if you don't tie the drawstring on your shorts, they will pull your shorts down. But this one, no, it's been very, very good. It's been very, very good. The lightness can't be overstated. The one-handed usability. I'm somebody who holds my phone in my left hand and interacts with it with my right. Now, whether or not that's you, I don't know. It's not like the original iPhones that, Steve Jobs wanted you to be able to reach the top of the phone with your thumb. Not like that. Those days are gone. But it still is comfortable to hold with one hand. And like I said, lean back on your, watching a video in bed or whatever. It holds up for that incredibly well. I will say, and I don't know if this is software, I don't know what it is, but since I started using this in my car for Bluetooth and playing Apple Music, whatever, the Bluetooth has been slow. It's not been pulling in the stuff fast enough, and so the playback has been choppy. Only in my car, not really with the AirPods Pro. And I can't say that I've tested this and 100% know that it's that, but I hadn't had that problem with my previous iPhone or the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, which I'm going to do a comparison with, the iPhone 17 Air. I mean, not a comparison, but what it's like to use the two, because they're not really comparable. They're very different phones. But the Bluetooth has been a little bit problematic. And in terms of real-world durability, other than the scratch that's on the back, I keep it in my pocket, or I keep it on, sitting on a stand, or I keep it on the desk. I've been very careful not to do anything else to this. The glossy side, this is very reminiscent to me of the iPhone 7 jet black finish, which was my favorite finish of any iPhone ever. But I'm very afraid that if I scratch this thing up at all, then it's going to be a problem. Now, some people say, well, you don't have to worry about the problem. You just get a case. And I do have this, and maybe I will get a case for those times when I'm going to go out and do something that might be a little bit more dangerous for the phone. But for the most part, I like to carry my phones without a case. This is probably the best feeling phone I've had in my hand. I was enjoying the S25 Ultra more than I was enjoying the iPhone 16 Pro Max before that, because the S25 Ultra is lighter and seems to fit in the hand a little bit better. But this is worlds better than the S25 Ultra, just in terms of the feeling in the hand, ladies, if you know what I mean. So I think with this phone, Apple was trying to create kind of a Goldilocks type phone, whereas it's not too big, it's not too small, it's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's got some features that are important, and it's left out a few. And so it sits between the regular iPhone in the place of an iPhone Plus model, and between the Pro and the Pro Max. And it's different. So who is this phone actually for? It's got the A19 Pro in it. That's the chip that's in the Pro phones. It's missing one graphics core, but I don't think anybody is ever going to miss a graphics core on a phone. So it's not comparable to the iPhone 17 in that way, but it's the only one of the iPhones that has a single camera lens. And honestly, I haven't used the camera enough to say whether or not that matters. I will put up some pictures of photos that I've taken just randomly. I wasn't testing the phone. I was just taking photos in the way that I would take the photos, and I'll put some of those up on the screen as we discuss here. This is not just a phone for people who want a thinner phone, and this is not a phone for people who want a less performant phone. Apple made some decisions about this in order to pull off this form factor. Like we said, there's only the one speaker, there's only the one camera lens, and this is all battery in here. All of the phone parts are in here, and which is an amazing feat of engineering in and of itself. But Apple made some choices. And do those choices make it something that people who would be drawn to the Pro phone wouldn't want? I would say no. So I would think that this would be the one that most people get. And so I did a poll on my community page and asked people, like, did you get an iPhone? Was it 17, Air, Pro Max, or no iPhone? Now, between the Air and the Pro or Pro Max, the Pro Max was the winner amongst the people who responded, 700 something respondents. So the Pro Max, people had been buying more than the Air. Interestingly enough, I believe about 50% or so of the people who answered said they weren't buying an iPhone. Now, that is a whole other conversation that we could have. However, I do think that this is a phone that most people would want. When considering this practically for daily use, you think about the storage options, starts at 256. 256 has always been enough for me. And I take a lot of pictures and I do a lot of video stuff for my YouTube things as well as for my family things. I don't do as much as some, but I do a decent amount, and I've never had a problem with 256 gigabytes of storage for just everyday use. People have been very, very concerned, and there's been a lot of talk about the battery life of this phone. It is now, as you can see, 11:49, and I am at 93% battery life. So what have I done with this phone so far this morning? Well, I woke up, I checked my email, I read some articles, I, briefly checked social media, that kind of thing. I filmed a couple of things. And so let's go to the settings and we'll go to battery. So on average, by this time of day, from Friday to Friday, I would have used 12%, and today I've used a little bit less. Always on display is taken 1%, Calm, Music, Notion, X. So in my day-to-day experience, my battery life has been very, very good. I don't play games on my phone, and I do watch video, but, I'm not watching like 3 hours of YouTube in the middle of the day kind of thing. I have been getting to the afternoon with 75 to 85% of battery, and by the end of the day, I've been around 50%. And everybody else's experience seems to be wildly different than mine. And I don't see how that can be the case. I actually left this off the charger overnight with about 50% of the battery left. And I used it until I needed to charge it. It was at like 4%. And that was at 8 p.m. on the second day. So I'm getting 2-day battery life out of the iPhone Air. Many other people are saying otherwise, but that's been my experience over the course of 1 week. So it's enough time to say that this is the kind of battery life I would expect this to keep having over the course of time. The phone is very snappy, no lag, no nothing, as you would expect from a flagship chip in a phone. It's been perfect. I've had no problems. Even with iOS 26, it has been perfect in performance over the course of my time with it. Coming full circle here, if you watched my video right after the event, I thought this was a nothing phone. I thought it was a gimmick, that Apple was just trying something, and I was kind of mad that they left off the Plus model. But now, I don't know that I could go back to using a regular Pro or Pro Max iPhone. I don't know that I get enough daily improvement from the things that those are missing to go back to that. The only disappointment that I have at this point is the scratching, and it's left me wondering, like, I get kind of anal about these things, and so I'm wondering, I may try and exchange it because that's going to bother me. That's going to bother me. But it's been long enough for the new car smell to wear off, and for me to genuinely appreciate what it's like to use this for a day, and I am very much enjoying using the iPhone Air. Holding it, it feels so nice. If you're a person who needs to have the biggest, baddest, bestest iPhone ever, always, then you're going to get the Pro or the Pro Max. That's just how it is. Now, if you're a person who usually gets the Pro because you don't want to get the base phone, you don't want to get like the common people's iPhone, then this is worth considering. It is all of the things that you would want from that, and probably a lot of the things that are missing you wouldn't miss, in my estimation. Now, I might change my mind later on. If you have an iPhone that you've been thinking about, should I upgrade, right? If you have the 15, or the 16 Pro or Pro Max, you don't need to upgrade. No. If you have the 14, I mean, that's the last phone that had lightning. Maybe it's time. The battery life on my wife's old 14, the battery had degraded down to 80%. Yes, you can get those batteries replaced and it would be cheaper than getting a new phone. But if I had a 3-year-old phone, I would highly consider grabbing one of these at $999 as opposed to $1,100 or $1,200 for the Pro or the Pro Max. I will update this review in a few weeks after I've used this for long enough to get tired of it, if I'm going to get tired of it, and I will let you know. So if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for that. I guess this video has been me eating a little bit of crow in that I thought the iPhone Air was going to be a nothing burger publicity stunt for Apple, and it turns out to be the best feeling iPhone that I've ever used that doesn't seem to lose a lot in performance. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Would you buy an iPhone Air if you were buying an iPhone right now, or would you buy something else? Tell me why or why not. Let's have a boisterous discussion. Otherwise, thanks so much for being here. Once again, my name is Jason. This is Painfully Honest Tech. So honest it hurts. Until the next time, I'm out.